So hi everyone, if you're new here, my name's Jade. I have cerebral palsy. I live in a 1960s adapted vintage and retro inspired bungalow, and I have two small dogs called Rocky and Ginger. So here is a few things that I do and a few rules that I have as a dog owner with a disability. Now, everyone's different. You do you with your dogs, but these are things that I do and rules that I have in place with my dogs as a disabled dog owner, and also some maybe controversial opinions that I have on dog ownership as well. So, number one, I, as a general rule, do not let my dogs greet on the lead. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. First of all, I walk my dogs on a waist belt with a spinner attached to their leads so that I can walk with a free hand and walk with a crutch on my right side. I find that my core is quite strong, and so if my dog should pull on the lead, it's easier for me to have control if they're walked on my waist. Now, because of this, I don't tend to allow on-lead greetings because I find that a lot of dogs get very tangled on the lead, and it can cause dogs to have a bit of a fallout and be quite nervous and anxious. And so because of this, I don't allow my dogs, as a general rule, to greet on lead. They greet off lead only. So that's one. Secondly, I am very strict with my dog's grooming. As a poodle mix owner, I think it's really important that the health needs of my dogs are met, and therefore I am very strict with their grooming. They are brushed every other day, they are kept clean, and they are kept tidy, and this is something that I really feel strongly about. I also groom my dogs myself because that's my preference. However, I know that if I did take them to a groomer, that they wouldn't have to be shaved because I brush them out frequently. The other thing is, I do walk my dogs off the lead in areas where it is appropriate. I put training into my dogs to train their recall, and I'm a firm believer that if your dog has recall, is of stable temperament, then you should be able to walk your dog off the lead where appropriate. That being said, I will recall my dogs if I feel it is needed, and I will also recall them if I see them approaching an on-lead dog. However, and I say this as a reactive dog owner, Rocky was reactive when we got him, not aggressive, that's a difference, and I successfully trained his reactivity. He is now a model canine citizen. If I make space for you and your reactive dog, and I recall my dogs and I put them on the lead and I give you the space that you so deserve on your walk, I do not expect you to then come into my space again with my dogs and continue to expect me to move out the way. I do find a lot of reactive dog owners are very entitled. No, I don't let my dogs go over to on-lead dogs. Yes, I will put my dogs on the lead and move out of the way, but I have had people with their reactive dogs then continue to follow me around, come into my dog's space, and then moan that I'm there and my dogs are there and my dogs maybe wandered near them or something. As a person that's had a reactive dog, if you have the problem dog, you are the one that should be moving out of the way. I wouldn't have dreamt when Rocky was his most reactive to go into off-lead spaces where I knew there was going to be other dogs and then moan that I was going to be approached. Dogs are social animals, and even dogs with the most bulletproof recall will approach other dogs from time to time. And I firmly believe there is a big difference in a dog approaching to attack and a dog approaching to be sociable, and dogs are social animals. So if I have my dogs and they're on the lead and an off-lead dog approaches and I can see they are calm and they are well-mannered, I don't kick off and I will allow that greeting, and then I will swiftly move away and make no fuss. Another thing that I don't do with my dogs is I don't use dog walkers. No shame to anyone that does, but me personally, I've seen a lot of dog walkers in the area that I live, and you're basically paying somebody to pick up your dog with 20 other dogs, take it to an enclosed field and let it run around. They don't watch the dogs, they don't make sure that they're behaving, and they're not checking who the dog's approaching, who it isn't. And I just don't feel a lot of the dog walkers that I've seen where I live would keep my dog safe. So I don't use dog walkers. Further to that, I will not allow anyone under the age of 18 to walk my dogs. I really cringe when I see young children on their own walking a dog, because you may trust your dog may have lovely temperament and bulletproof recall, but you can't trust other people's dogs. And I would absolutely die if I thought that my nieces or my younger siblings had walked one of my dogs and an aggressive dog had attacked them. As a child, they're not going to be able to do anything about that, so I don't allow anyone under the age of 18 to walk my dogs. Another rule that I have is, it's your house, not theirs, so my dogs do go on the sofa, they are kept very clean, and I do use a throw on the sofa and it is washed. I'm quite strict with my dog's manners, however, when you come into my house, you are also coming into their home as well. It is their home, they live here, you are a guest. I don't allow other people to, as a rule, discipline my dogs, because everyone's way of disciplining their animals, the same as their children, is different. I do discipline my dogs. They're not, I use positive reinforcement as a rule, but they do get told off when I feel it's appropriate. However, that is my place and not yours. I also don't tell other people's dogs off. That again is not my place. Another rule that I have is I do not let my dogs correct other people's dogs' behaviour. And by this, I mean when you're at the park and a young dog comes in with their owner and it comes over and it's being really boisterous, not got great manners, and it's quite rude. Now, my dogs, I say I don't let them correct another dog's behaviour, I let them do it once to express their natural dislike for that behaviour. I allow one correction from my dog, and after that I will say to the owner, look, your dog, your problem, you need to correct your dog. And my biggest pet peeve is when they say, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it, they need to be told off. I don't mind. I mind, don't be lazy, it's your dog, you are the owner and you are responsible for correcting your dog's bad behaviour. It is not my dog's responsibility to tell your dog off more than once when your dog can't take no for an answer, and I'm really strict with that. Also, I'm very, very fussy with what dogs I allow my dogs to interact with. My dogs do meet and greet other dogs because I think it is important that they have that social skill. However, if I can see that that owner hasn't got very good control of their dog, on or off the lead, my dogs will not be interacting with them. I also never assume that because a dog is on a lead that the owner has control, because I have seen a lot of instances where this is not the case. And my biggest pet peeve about on lead is that the owners think that, oh, it's okay, it's on a lead, it's under control because it's on a lead. Simply not true. It's not true. I've had owners with their dogs literally dragging them to get to my dog, or I've had a dog that's jumped up at me and put its paws on my shoulders. It was a Great Dane, and the woman had no control. It was literally dragging her across the road. It was happy to see me. It was a happy dog. However, as a disabled person, this dog stood about 6 foot tall on its back legs, and it's safe to say that, it practically knocked me over. I have also been knocked over by someone else's dog. Now, I know that dogs run around and they're very happy and they like to play, and I love seeing that. However, your dog shouldn't be knocking people over. So yeah, those are a few rules that I have as a disabled dog owner, and a few opinions that I hold as a disabled dog owner, and the reasons why I hold those opinions and I have those rules. Let me know if there's any rules you have with your dogs. And also let me know if there's any more videos with cleaning, vintage or dogs that you would like me to make, and I will take that request and make a video for you. As always, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and God bless.